Friends, colleagues and listeners, here we are again, AGS Airline Ground Service Digital Summit, and we've got another session. And on this particular session, we've got two great gentlemen who not only are high up in their own fields, but they're friends, colleagues, and a lot of mutual respect between the two of them. So I'm expecting a really nice show here. The two gentlemen I'm talking about is Hussein Serif, who's chairman and CEO of AirCairo. So Hussein, lovely to see you, sir.
Thank you very, very much. I'm really honored and flattered.
Brilliant. Really appreciate you joining us. And second, but by no means least, and an old friend of the show, we've got Mohamed Hanno, who's the executive chairman of ASE Group. Mohamed, lovely to see you again, sir.
Me too, as well, Chris. And it's really a pleasure to see you with us tonight.
Yeah, always. And I think it would be remiss of me if I didn't suggest to you that you should put that mask on just to show people how the masks have developed since the beginning of COVID. There we go. So this is one that you could come in late at night, and I think if I wore that late at night and came in, I'd frighten the wife. She wouldn't want to see me again. So, but thank you for that. Very innovative. So, Jen, here we are. The session we're talking about now, session 3. It's all about, COVID being a terrible shock to the industry, but as our industry does, and we're resilient. We managed to pivot and be as agile as we could and should be, and it's also brought the supply chain into the eyes and the minds of the whole world. So we've done a fantastic job. Everybody's acknowledged it, and now we have to live with this continuing impact of the virus. We can't just keep stalling and having excuses now. So to put this into practice is a huge challenge. And obviously the point of today is to get both of your viewpoints on how to overcome these challenges and how to learn from all of their experiences. So before we jump into it, I'm just going to give a quick background of the two of you. So as long as your family and friends don't listen to this, I don't think there'll be any embarrassment. So a little bit about the bios. So Hussein, obviously you've been full-time now as the CEO and chairman of AirCairo since February 2020. And from all the feedback I've been getting, you've done a fantastic job. So fair play to you, well done. And Egypt Air, 9 years, just over 9 years. And you were also VP Commercial from October 2012 to December 2013. You got a master's degree in marketing and very experienced guy. And you've been around a while. So you know all the twists, the turns, the ups and the downs, and really, really lovely to meet you over this forum. Mohamed, as we know, experienced Chief Executive Officer, history of working in the airlines, aviation industry and the travel industry, and a board member of Airport Services Association, and a member of the Ground Operation Group, which is GOG, which is acting as an advisor. You've been involved and approved changes with AHM and IGOM, and you also hold skills in negotiation, operations management and tourism, and a strong business development professional with a Bachelor of Arts degree, and also a few other academic degrees, Mohamed. So between the pair of you, awful lot of experience, both in the industry and academically. And I'm pretty sure we're going to get a good insight now into the learnings from this terrible pandemic period that we've all just gone through. So gentlemen, firstly, and who'd like to start? Okay, so you're under starters orders, because I know you both want to jump in here. What have been the biggest learning experiences that you guys have found during this terrible period of the last 16 to 18 months?
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, that was slower than I was expecting. I was expecting a clamour to the screen there.
No, I'm pushing Mr. Hanno to start. He was always an icon, so I prefer that icon starts first.
Well, actually, this pandemic was really a great or a big catastrophe for the aviation industry, for all of us. And I would say coming out of it, it shows that we're still, I can't say that we have been out of it yet. We're still in it and deeply in. Still with the restrictions everywhere.
Yep. Yep.
Every day, every hour, I would say that there are new restrictions coming in, coming out, and it's a great challenge. It's a very big challenge uh, for not only for the executive team, but also for the front line team who are facing the challenges every day.
Yeah, I remember. Sorry, Hanno. Just don't mean to interrupt you there so quickly, but I remember the first time we spoke. I was really impressed with the amount of time you were putting into your team with retraining, support training, helping them out with new leadership styles, with things that they had to contend with that they'd never probably been trained to do before. And I thought that was really good that you were investing in your people.
Yes, it was a change. There are no flights coming in, no airports are open, so and I cannot really send anybody back home. And they are my team. They are my backbone. They are the backbone of the company. So actually, I do appreciate everybody of them, what they have done and how they are working. Okay, I cannot say that all of them are 100%. There are ups and downs. Even your fingers are not the same.
Yeah.
They're longer, shorter, but at the very end, it's one team and it's ASE team.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. And Hussein, what about yourself? What major learnings, especially during the time that you took over there, February 20? You're right at the beginning of it, so it was a real tough time.
Yes, exactly. While as you know, the airline industry is one of the very sensitive industries around the world, and any single action or reaction in any destination or origin would affect heavily the airline business. We are really very sensitive, and we are very expensive industry. Everything in the airline industry costs thousands, nothing costs hundreds. The figure with 2 zeros does not exist, except the seat price. There is a seat price with 2 zeros. The most important part of it is get ready, as Mr. Hanno just mentioned, get ready to manage the change. Train your staff to manage the change. Train your staff to get ready for different environment. And this is exactly what we did in AirCairo during the shutdown of 99% of the world airports and the lockdown in most of the countries. So what we did is that we taught our staff to manage the change. The second thing, which is also very important, is we in this part of the world, we have big markets with lots of traffic in and lots of traffic out. I'm speaking specifically about Egypt.
Yeah.
And we were always operating with plan A only. What we've done or what we've learned is that we should have a plan B and plan C and possibly plan D. And every one of these alternative plans should be managed by and understood by all the staff. The third lesson is no one can work alone.
Yeah.
Whatever is the size of the business or the size of the airline, no one can stand alone and face such catastrophe as quoted by Mr. Hanno. It was a catastrophe, but plan B, C, and possibly D saved AirCairo. The management of change saved AirCairo. The cooperations we had during the pandemic and even post-pandemic, these days specifically, resulted in that AirCairo came as one of the most, let me say, I don't want to say most, one of the healthy airlines after the pandemic. While we are still in, we are not 100% recovered from the pandemic, it is still in, but I can confirm that we came out till let me say, the 31st of October, healthier than it should be.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. And some of the things that you refer to there, and both of you actually, is the way people now have to think differently. So, like you said, you know, everybody had a plan A, or even some had a plan B. But now, you know, through risk assessments, root cause analysis, being more aware, there's got to be a lot more depth in backup for contingency and continuity to make sure the sustainability of the business is you know, is real and is not just hanging on the thread, because it's been so challenging. Now, as far as risk and as far as root cause analysis, how much more emphasis have both of your organizations looked into, you know, self-assessments, audits, looking at efficiencies and productivity, etc.?
Mr. Hanno, go ahead.
Okay. Well, actually, during the 2020, we started reorganizing ourselves. We started re-auditing our stations, though there were no work, but at least paperwork, administration work, we were doing it, checking everything. Even with, we were negotiating with IATA for our renewing our ASE for headquarters in Cairo, and which we did this year, and we are now renewed again. They gave us an exception for 2020 because everything was closed, that they kept it for us, but we have done, and we have successfully passed. Now, next year, we're having 2 other stations, and until we have all our, I would say our service delivery units to be ASE certified again.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. That's good. That's very good. And we've got to keep focusing on safety and security and all the basics, because without that, you know, it's not good. Now, Hussein, obviously you've been in there a short period of time, but you must have also now seen the impact of what everybody's calling the, you know, the brain drain, or the second tier of expertise that's filtering out of our industry now and going into other industries, whereby people are thinking, you know, this is an industry now that is not as secure as I thought it was, and there's other things I want to do, and what do I want to do in my life, and do I want the 12-hour shifts and different issues, etc. So you've seen quite a lot go out. What are you actually doing now, you know, to bring new talent in, whether it be from other industries or the next generation, who want to feel special about working in aviation?
Look, Chris, actually what happened is that we attracted young generations. We try to attract as much as we can of the young generations. The airline business and being beside the aircraft is very attractive job in our area. I don't know other areas in the world, but in our area, this is a very attractive job. The young generations are really thinking differently. Their minds are not like ours. They are thinking widely, maybe because of the technologies, but they are really thinking widely. We attracted lots of them during the pandemic. Also, we attracted expertise from, especially from the mother company, from Egypt Air, who joined the AirCairo. And it was really good time that we have these experts, plus the new generations coming in with their readiness to cope with the changes. And not only readiness, you cannot imagine how quick they were responding to the change and responding to the different environmental or the different surrounding circumstances, let me say. With the experts, we came out with an extremely successful team, let me call it, or teams. We had teams that were dealing with the fleet and asset management. And it was led by an expertise from Egypt Air, but supported by 3 youngsters coming into the industry. Also a team for the digital marketing, led by an expert and supported by youngsters who were very good and assisted a lot in approaching the age which is our target. Also, we had also another team for the, as Mr. Hanno just mentioned, auditing, doing lots of internal audits on the processes and on the processes of, and not only the process, we were doing auditing the auditing. I mean, we're not auditing just to audit. We were auditing that the audit is coming out with real and meaningful results.
Yes, and that's so important.
Yeah, and we did that on different processes in AirCairo. We were so blunt to accept an IOSA audit to be done on site. This was really blunt from AirCairo during the pandemic, and it was and we've chosen one of the toughest agencies which is doing such IOSA audits. It was not done online; it was done on site. We did not go for an extension for the IOSA certificate. No, we did a real audit at AirCairo premises and on AirCairo aircraft. At the same time, on the safety issue, of course, not all the fleet was flying. So the aircraft which were not flying were subjected to lots of checks, lots of, let me call, not only cleaning, but deep cleaning, lots of no B snags anymore. All the snags were cleared. All the aircraft are flying without an MEL, a minimum equipment list. Everything was perfectly done, tested. So of course this exhausted our budget, but at the same time this was very important that when the recovery is on, we are also on.
Which is so important. It's that readiness, isn't it? And let me ask you something, the pair of you, please. So maybe start with you, Mohamed. You know, people have been tolerant, you know, because of all the lockdown and because of the whole world has shared in the same pain. And then they've got expectations when it comes out. Now, their expectations are starting to wane a little bit because they're not being met by everybody, and you can't keep giving customers the reason that, you know, we don't have enough staff, or we weren't aware of when the schedule was going to increase, etc. So we've got to be very careful moving forward now that we don't ruin the positive reputation by not providing the service levels that the consumer expects. How have you addressed that?
Well, actually, I absolutely agree with what you said. Our main target is the service level that we do give to our clients, to our partner airlines. They are no longer clients, but they are partner airlines, that they are with us in every smallest thing. I've been requested, not here, but in the UAE, Dubai, by one of our members, airline partners, that they are flying here and they were going to fly to Dubai, and they requested that we do their service, their station management over there. I said, yes, I can do it under the condition that my people there will accept it. There, they said, yes, we can, not the whole program, we can do it, because it was to two different cities, to Dubai and to Sharjah. And so we said, okay, we will do one, because I don't have enough team to be with you to do the same thing. And according to the schedule, it was really impossible to maintain the two schedules together. So sometimes I have to refuse to maintain my service level with the airline, and the respect of ASE with my service partner.
Okay, good. And one other way that lots of people are looking now at how individuals can actually boost their own self asset value is by, you know, having upskilling, cross-skilling, multi-skilling and new skilling, so that they're a lot more flexible. And some of the areas and some of the companies that I've been dealing with, what they're doing now is they're looking at the length of shifts that they have doing a lot of the physical work, so a lot of the blue collar, and obviously, especially if it's in extreme weather conditions, which, you know, you look around the world, you've either got hot or you've got cold or you've got a mixture. And what they're doing is they're teaching them how to do work at the front end and also the back end of that physical exercise, so they get a broader understanding of the entire process that they're involved in, and they have a respect of why the accuracy and the efficiency at the front end helps them, and if they do their job properly, how it helps, you know, anybody else thereafter. And it seems to be working. It seems to be working very well, and it then provides that efficiency and productivity target that everybody's looking for, which is doing more with less.
I do agree with you about that. For this, I have a similar, I would say, that most of our senior management in the team, they were all airport staff. So when they are talking to their team or to their members, they know what they are talking about. If there is a snake somewhere, they are able to know how to solve it.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of, I would say, how would you like to have your team work, to have people? I'm sorry to say, but there are some main people, they have never seen an aircraft. What's under the aircraft? What's the difference between above the wing and below the wing? So that's a big problem. So what I always insist that management, they have to know what exactly the youngest team member is doing.
Yeah.
And that's how we are doing. Sometimes I go to the airport. Sometimes me and myself, I assist to help and everything. It's not the matter of sitting behind the chair or behind the desk that I'll be something. No, it's the matter that whether you love what you are doing or you don't love what you're
doing. Yeah. No, it's very clear. You know, a passion and an engagement can lift you higher than just standing still and expecting things. So
exactly.
Yeah. And Hussein, what about yourself? You know, the opportunity to allow people to be involved in more than they thought they would be, and also to see a picture from a different angle or viewpoint.
So let me answer you, Chris. Actually, most of we are a small airline. Our staff are less than 500 people, and 60% of them are flying crew, either pilots or cabin crew. But actually, we use them in other activities because they are experts in other activities. Either this is their hobby or talent, or they are doing, they are having their something privately done away from AirCairo. And including myself, we were doing things. I was not operating only as a chairman and a CEO. I was doing some other things that was supposed to be done by others. But since others were also engaged in other activities, so we did something like a recycling.
Yeah.
Everybody was heavily used, to the extent that we upgraded our website and app to a level, I can say a world standard level. This was done during the pandemic with the inventions and innovations of AirCairo staff. Also, We invested a lot in other technologies, coming as a vision or a support from AirCairo staff to their departments. So many things were done during the pandemic as a participation from staff who were not even coming to the headquarters of AirCairo. They were always either in Hurghada or Sharm el-Sheikh or in Alexandria or anywhere away from the headquarters. But it was one of the opportunities and chances that these people come and know who is in the headquarters and have their own input in their airline. It created lots of loyalty to the airline.
Yeah. I think now, you know, when you look at the pressures that everybody's been under, and you look at the way things were before, and I was just talking with Mohamed about, you know, whether or not certain formal accreditation audits have got the credibility and the impact that they used to have, because over time they've turned into a commercial vehicle, and everybody likes to stand up and say zero findings. Well, for me, it's a little bit like going to the doctor and he has a quick look at you and says, yeah, no, everything should be okay. Well, you want to have a proper audit or a proper medical. And I think, you know, the mindset now has got to change. And also from employees, they want to feel that they are part of an organization now that cares. And if the leaders don't show that they care, that loyalty or that, you know, that coming together, and like you said, Mohamed, fingers on a hand, they're all different, but together they're a powerful fist, you know. And with that in mind, people now in senior positions have got a lot more, I think, responsibility and accountability to lead by example and do the right thing every time, so that everybody looking at them can say, this is the company I want to be with, this is the right sort of environment, etc. And obviously now, as the younger generations are putting more pressure on the sustainability of the planet, etc., it's going to change the dynamics. You know, it's very, very. There's going to be a very peculiar transitional period, I think, of about 2 to 5 years for businesses, industries, and politics to settle down and find its balance, so that it can really then progress further afield.
This is really true. This is really true. Of course, we do not expect this industry to recover fully in short time, but let me tell you that it will recover shorter than we expect. All the experts say that by 2025 and on.
Yeah.
What I can confirm to you is that before 2025, we will be back to the 2019 levels again. People are eager to travel. Of course, the leisure traffic or leisure travel is on top these days, but people also tried the Zooms, tried the Teams, tried the video conferencing, but it was not that successful as the face-to-face business. They will travel again. Of course, the business travel will not recover that quickly, but people will travel again. What they save from the Zooms and the Teams meetings, they will spend in the leisure traffic, and we are there.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think there'll be more of a selective business travel, because, you know, you want it to be high impact. So the other business travel that sort of got, you know, went under the radar a little bit, that's what will stop. But the really important element of it, I think people can't wait for that to come back again, because it is a lot more productive.
Yes, this is true.
Over what Mr. Hussein has just said, also would say that unfortunately, although we all, I would say our generation would love to see aviation coming back to its normal aspects as 2019 and before, but what I see, that aviation will not come back to the same, I would say, same standards or the same environment between airlines, ground handlers. It's not the same. It's there is something has broken.
Yeah.
Something has left. I know a lot of airline employees or cabin crew in airlines that they had to leave and they worked other. If you look at LinkedIn during the 2020s, you would see so many cabin crews, so many pilots, different categories all over the world.
Yeah.
Who's selling, I would say, newspapers, who's training, driving, car driving, or it's something completely different than. Still, they will not, even if they come back, they will not have the same feelings they had before. Okay, they are passionate for their licenses, passionate for their work that they love, but it will not never come back.
Yeah, no, I agree, Mohamed. This has made people think a lot differently, change their values, realize what's important in life. And in the main, it's a good thing, provided everybody appreciates that, you have to care a lot more and care together and do a lot more in a collaborative fashion. If that can be maintained, and people don't start getting greedy again and start over competing, then it's a great opportunity. And as far as the opportunities are concerned, I think the amount of emphasis on digital transformation, digitization, automation, etc. This last 18 months has probably packed 10 to 15 years under normal circumstance into the acceptance of all of that. And with the huge increase in e-commerce, it's making the business, reflect and realign again even more,
This is really true. Let me tell you our AirCairo's experience. During the pandemic, most of the airlines were grounded. Most of the aircraft were parked or stored, except for our case and some other airlines. They did exactly the same what we did. Not copying us, but this was their invention as well and their innovation. We used the technology to approach markets, unusual markets. During the pandemic, there were lots of foreigners living abroad. I mean, Europeans living in Africa or living in Asia, and Japanese living in Africa or living somewhere in the Middle East. And this type of passengers, the expats who were living away from their homeland, they wanted to go back. And I remember that we moved the European community from some African states back home via Cairo, and Japanese and Chinese from countries which no one can imagine that in this country there are Japanese people living there, and we moved them to their home country. Let me tell you that AirCairo, for instance, flew to Jakarta and Bali with the Airbus 320, not with a wide body, because the wide bodies were parked. And we do not have a wide body in AirCairo, but the wide bodies around the world were parked. So the only chance was AirCairo to fly to Jakarta and Bali with 2 stops on the way, because the fleet was not equipped or ready to operate with the extended operations. Extended means away from the shore. And we were flying just parallel to the shore. So we had to, while going to Jakarta, we had to do 2 stops. This is what we call I forgot just the name right now because I'm concentrating with you. But I mean, this was some inventions and innovations, how to create different markets using the technology. We were communicating with these people through using the Facebook, using the social media.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, I can confirm to you that we really operated very successful and as well profitable. It was not a charity operation, but it was one of the profitable operations. As I mentioned earlier, our aircraft is not equipped with ETOPS, but we flew up to Bali, Jakarta and Bali in Indonesia. And we flew to South Africa with our A320 with a single stop in Kinshasa. We went to many countries in Africa. We went to many European airports. This was the time where we best used our new generation in communication, in using technology to communicate with the world. This was a real plus to the airline, and a real lesson when I said to you that we should have plan A, B, C, and maybe D. This was one of the benefits of the pandemic.
Yeah, no, 100%. And obviously, one of the things that you said there about it was important and you made profit. You know, everybody talking about sustainability, and I keep using the 3 Ps being people, profit, and planet. And, you know, there's a fine balance now, because if you go overkill on the people, so everybody's just blah, blah, you must. If there's no profit, there's going to be no money to spend on the planet. So it's a fine balance now between making sure that the business sustainability is there so that the planet can actually benefit, because there's such goodwill now and common sense. But also, you know, things like everybody wants everything to go electric. Well, most of the airports around the world haven't got the capacity or the surge power to, you know, to convert to electric equipment. So, you know, there's the realities of life as well. Now on that and Cairo. So I know Cairo very well from my Lufthansa days, and I was just saying Lufthansa, Etihad, Qatar, Saudi. So I know Cairo Airport very well. Now, as an airport, so let's not just focus on Cairo, but any airport now. My feeling is that if airports start to totally realize that they are the owners of an ecosystem, or they've got the control of an ecosystem, and if they start to focus on that rather than having lots and lots of tenants and activities that go on in that airport, they can change like the code of practice or code of conduct, certain standards. They can look at extending the airport boundaries so that it includes other businesses associated. They can really change the face now of the new environment moving forward, especially, and I'm talking on a cargo side, but they can attract a lot more business as a result of what they do as an airport, future-proofing facilities, you know, whether it's airports taking on pooling of GSE, maybe even pooling of a specialist workforce who can be pulled upon by any carrier subject to the schedules, etc. Do you think there's some merit in that?
Mr. Hanno.
As a ground service, yes, it should be so. I wrote once, somebody asked me to write something about a new airport. How does it look? And I call it the friendly airport.
Yeah.
Friendly airport, I said, number one, you have to look at the PRMs before the normal passengers. You have to the fueling, to be a pool fueling, catering, a pool fueling, a fuel catering. So many things that should be done as a whole community.
Yep.
Not somebody is taking charge of everything and then trying to count out the benefit. And so actually, this is one of the main things that an airport should be. And the most important thing I said, you have to consider the ground service providers, that they are the main customers.
Yeah.
It's not the commercial you're getting concessions from them, or the airlines, because the airline can fly to you for one season and the next season they're not there.
Yep.
But the ground service is always there with you.
Yep. Yep. That's exactly it. Yeah.
Actually, they took half of what I've said into consideration, and they left just the second half.
Good. At least you'll have some input there. So that's well done, Mohamed. And what about you, Hussein?
As far as the airports are concerned, I will speak about the Egyptian airports. Actually, they offered some concessions and discounts in the landing and parking fees, but they were still charging. They were not benefiting from the passengers we are bringing in to support their non-aviation activities.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this is better than nothing. It was offered to all the airlines coming into the Egyptian airports. There's such discounts and concessions. Let me tell you, some airports around the world were not that, I don't want to say responsive to the pandemic, but we expected them to be more of a participation spirit to the industry as an industry was in. So the industry was in a catastrophe, and they are part of the industry. If there are no aircraft flying and passengers boarding or deboarding,
yeah, exactly,
then the airports are not needed.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's definitely a time now to reflect and be different quickly, because if we're not, then somebody else, some positive disruptor will come in and do things differently, and it'll affect us again. So we've got to be the first now. But on reflection, the global supply chain, and especially AirCairo and everybody, they've shown how important it is to keep borders open, to keep regulators aware of what's going on, communicate, and make sure that we keep everything running the way the world needs it to. So, I think for once, everybody came together and did a sterling job. So, gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you for your valuable time. I wish you both great success. And I look forward to seeing you somewhere face to face, because it's a long time. It's long overdue.
So you're most welcome anytime, Chris, coming to Egypt. I think Hussein will give you the ticket coming to Egypt.
Yeah, I'll take him up on that. You're a good man, Mohamed. That was a good, nice little segue in.
And you're most welcome anytime. You, Salam. Really, it's nice having talking to you and doing this conversation from time to time. It at least gives us some hope for the future.
Yeah, no, everybody, and to see people like yourselves, so engaged, enthusiastic, and positive, that's what it's all about. And it's a great example to anybody thinking of coming into our industry.
One last thing I would like to add is that ASE, which is Airport Service Association, has now reached a very good, I would say, level of communication between ACI, the Airport Council International, AGS, ASE, IATA, and they are cooperating together quite well.
Yeah.
Which is something that was supposed to be done since a long time. But now we are looking at the ground service providers as at their association, as a real association of aviation.
Yeah, no, 100% agree, 100%. And and that's why I'm saying about airports having an opportunity to change the horizon and the landscape, because the ground handlers have got put all that asset investment in, and everybody benefits. There should be a sharing. A different model is long overdue, in my opinion. But I appreciate that, Mohamed. Thank you. Hussein?
Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you very, very much.
It's a pleasure, and continued success with AirCairo.
Thank you very, very much. I really wish you a pleasant day or evening. I don't know where are you now, but thank you very much for the healthy meeting, and thank you for bringing me with Mr. Hanno into this interview.
Thank you.
Pleasure.